Missouri student photojournalist Tim Tighe became a story himself this week while covering the protests. He has covered controversial stories before, winning a national contest for this photo he took of Michael Brown's mother after his fatal shooting. So when Tighe showed up at the Concerned Student 1950 rally Monday, he was probably not expecting this.
You need to go!
You don't have a right to take our photos.
For about 10 minutes, student photojournalist Tim Tighe was harassed, shoved, and shouted at while standing on public property.
I have a job to do. This is the First Amendment that protects your right to stand here, protects mine.
Keeping his cool, Tighe tried to explain that he was just doing his job.
Ma'am, the First Amendment protects your right to be here and mine.
But the crowd was having none of it, including the university's Greek life director, Jana Bassler.
Sir, I am sorry. These are people too. You need to back off. Back off. Leave these students alone.
Finally, the crowd pushed in on Tighe. That's when the student journalist taking this video, Mark Schierbecker, moved toward the tents, only to be confronted by Associate Professor of Communications, Melissa Click.
Hi, media. Can I talk to you?
No, you need to get out.
Well,
you need to get out.
No, I don't.
You need to get out.
I actually don't.
All right. Hey, who wants to help me get this reporter out of here? I need some muscle over here.
Melissa Click's position is under review, and Jana Bassler has been placed on administrative leave. No word on whether they've read the Constitution. I found this shocking because it wasn't just these two professors, leadership positions at the university. It was all of the students. It was black and white saying, we're going to call the police on you. There isn't a single person in that crowd who seemed to have any concept that not only did that reporter have the right to be there, but that they should want him to be there. And this is this whole university thing now, well, we have to have a safe space, or you got to notify me if you're going to talk about something in class that I might be upset by. But this notion that a public property, a public space, is not open and accessible to the news media is shocking.
Well, without an ounce of sympathy for those two individuals who made fools of themselves there, welcome to our world as reporters. We encounter on a daily basis hostility, a desire for us to get lost, even when we're on the sidewalk and in a public place. And we have to deal with it. That photographer gave a good example of how you should deal with that. And while I hate that and I abhor it, and we should, as he did, insist on our right to do our job, I also understand the anger that people have. Mm-hmm. And look at the polls that show the low esteem that people have for the news media. When your community or you as an individual have been exposed to incompetent reporting that gets facts wrong, abusive reporting, reporting that focuses on the salacious and sensational at the expense of the broader story that you're living in, you bet you're going to get mad and hostile. So I get it, even though I abhor the attitude and the pushing and shoving of those journalists.
Well, of course, this is a both-and situation. The teachers, I don't know where they're coming from. They should not put their hands on anybody, so that's clear. Tighe himself, I need to quote him. That's the guy, the photographer. I'm a little perturbed at being part of the story. Maybe let's focus on some more reporting on systemic racism in higher ed institutions. He said, if I had to do it again, I would have walked away. It was a very emotional situation. People's emotions were very high at that moment. Wolf had just resigned. There was a way to cover it, and I probably could have gone back. He's saying, I'm speaking for him right now through what he said. In just a minute, let me step back a second. People are upset. Just hold on a minute. So there's a misunderstanding about First Amendment, certainly. But what's happening here is we're replacing the main story of what the hell was going on the campus with looking at the First Amendment rights of the other guy and Tighe. And Tighe, thank goodness, has said, hey, I get it. Let me understand that.
And the next day, just parenthetically, saner heads prevailed and the students welcomed reporters.
Absolutely.
To
and
cover
said
them,
that.
as they should have in the first place.
Absolutely.
Well, I agree with Callie and John 100%. Now, kudos to the two student journalists. I think they handled themselves extremely well. And I don't know what to make of two so-called adult authority figures getting as emotionally wrapped up in a student protest as they did. It was completely inappropriate. But I also understand that emotions were running very high, and I think that one of the things that surprised me about the outrage over this is that this isn't that unusual. I mean, journalists have found themselves in these situations over and over again. As John said, you know, welcome to our world.
It just shocks me that they didn't realize, the students didn't realize that they had won because of the First Amendment. You know, that was their victory. So anyway, I think it's good that they figured that out and reversed
They were
their
getting
position quickly.
good press for the most part. I mean,
They were coming from a different place of being covered and not having their issues told right. Nobody knows, understands.
Well, they didn't know
it.
how that guy was going to tell their issues.
No,
They wouldn't let
yes,
him
they
in.
didn't, but they were going on a history. I'm telling you, this is not based on one moment in time.
All right.